What if the penny in your pocket right now was worth more than your entire savings account? Imagine reaching into an old coffee can of change, brushing off the dust, and pulling out a single coin that could change your life forever. This isn't fantasy. It's real, because hidden among millions of ordinary coins lies one that collectors whisper about with awe and urgency. The 1964 Lincoln penny, with the small but powerful D mint mark. At first glance, it looks like any other worn copper cent from the 1960s. But the truth is, a select few of these coins have stunned the market, with values climbing into the hundreds of thousands and whispers of specimens fetching up to $1 million. And the question gnawing at collectors everywhere is simple. Do you already have one? The story of the 1964 Lincoln penny begins at the Denver Mint, a place where billions of coins were pressed into circulation during a time of extraordinary change in America. 1964 was the year the Beatles invaded the U.S. The Civil Rights Act was signed, and millions of people were pocketing shiny new pennies without giving them a second thought. Yet, within those countless coins, errors and anomalies slipped through the Pressostini variations that today can mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth more than a luxury home. Now, here's where it gets intriguing. The 1964D penny is not inherently rare. In fact, billions were struck. But just like finding a flawless diamond among thousands of ordinary stones, a handful of these pennies were struck with unusual qualities that collectors hunt like treasure: doubled dies, repunched mint marks, and ultra-high grades certified by professional grading companies like PCGs and NGCR, where the magic begins. Imagine stumbling on one in your grandfather's desk drawer, where it's been waiting quietly for decades, its value unknown. Until now, consider this: in recent auctions, pristine, uncirculated 1964D pennies graded at the very top of the scale have sold for over $14,000, and some varieties, especially with dramatic doubling on the lettering or Lincoln's features, have been valued even higher. Picture the scene: unsuspecting seller bringing in what looks like a simple coin, only for the auctioneer's gavel to fall at a price that leaves the entire room gasping. It happens. And it happens more often than you'd think. But here's the twist that keeps collectors awake at night. Most people pass over these coins every single day. They drop them into vending machines, toss them into jars, or trade them for pocket change, never realizing that a fortune was slipping through their fingers. How many times have you emptied your car's cofolder without a second glance? Could one of those pennies have been the key to financial freedom? The 1964D penny's mystique is magnified by its condition rarity. Out of the billions minted, very few have survived in flawless condition. Those that did shimmering red copper, untouched by circulation, are so scarce that grading companies award them top-tier labels like MS67 or MS68. And that's where the prices skyrocket. When collectors see one of these on the auction block, the bidding war can turn savage. Heritage auctions, Stacks, Bowers, and other elite houses have seen these coins ignite frenzies. each bid pushing the value into uncharted territory. Now, let's pause and ask, if so many 1964 pennies were made, why would just one be worth life-changing money? The answer lies in the tiniest details that only the sharpest eyes can catch. A small doubling of Lincoln's profile. A faint repunch of the D-mint mark. A silky original luster untouched for 60 years. Think about it. Your eyes could skim over these subtle features, dismissing them as imperfections, when in fact they're the very signals of extraordinary rarity. Picture this. A retired couple in Kansas cleaning out their attic, sifting through a forgotten shoebox filled with old coins. They almost toss the pennies into a bank bag but decide on a whim to have them checked. The dealer leans in, squints, and suddenly stiffens. That shoebox just turned into a jackpot. These are the stories that fuel the fire, that keep people searching, because anyone, anywhere, could be next. And it's not just about luck, it's about awareness. Every serious collector knows the importance of certification. Sending a coin to PCGs or NGC can confirm whether you're holding a common penny or a national treasure. The grading slab becomes a passport, transforming a coin from pocket change into a documented artifact worth tens of thousands, sometimes more. Without it, your $1,000,000 penny could go unnoticed. Mistaken for the ordinary? Here's something that will send a chill down your spine. Many collectors believe there are still uncirculated rolls of 1964 D-pennies tucked away in old safes, bank vaults, or hidden in forgotten corners of estates. If even one of those rolls holds a flawless gem, the value could eclipse anything we've seen so far. The hunt is on, and every estate sale, every dusty box, every coin jar could hold the next big discovery. Scarcity drives urgency, and urgency drives value. Only a handful of coins from 1964D have achieved the highest grades, and each time one surfaces, it commands headlines. Yet for every one that's been found, there are potentially dozens more hiding in plain sight. Will they be discovered tomorrow, next year, or by you tonight? As you pour out that old jar of pennies. Think about it. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying history, chance, and the thrill of owning what almost no one else can. When a 1964D penny in spectacular condition crosses the block and hammers for 5 or 6 figures, it's not just a sale, it's a moment that rewrites what we thought possible. And that's why the stakes feel so high. It's not enough to have seen a 1964 penny. You must look closer, question deeper, and always wonder, what if? Let's bring this full circle. While most 1964D pennies are worth a cent or two, the rarest, most pristine, and most unusual examples have stunned the market. The highest reported values reach into the 6-figure range, with specimens selling for more than $150,000, and with growing interest in coin collecting. Some experts whisper of future values climbing even higher toward the $1,000,000 mark. For the right coin, in the right moment, at the right auction, so the next time you handle loose change, ask yourself, am I overlooking the treasure that could change everything? Because the truth is, life-altering discoveries don't always come in the form of lottery tickets or inheritances. Sometimes they come as a penny small, brown, and unassuming, yet capable of rewriting your financial future. The 1964 Lincoln penny proves one thing above all: history is hiding in plain sight. And it rewards only those who are curious enough, sharp enough, and bold enough to look closer. You reach into an old jar tucked away in your attic, pour out a handful of pennies that have been sitting there for decades, and among them lies a 1971 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. It looks unremarkable, like the countless copper cents that passed through your hands over the years. But what if I told you that this unassuming coin has been known to fetch jaw-dropping sums at prestigious auctions? Would you check your change differently if you knew the coin of a lifetime might already be sitting in your home? The 1971 Lincoln cent, by itself, doesn't sound like a rare treasure. Millions were minted, and to the casual eye, it's just another brown penny. But here's the mystery. Some examples struck without a mint mark have shown dramatic differences that elevate them from pocket change to prize possessions. They are coins that carry errors, doubled designs, or incredibly sharp strikes. And when they surface in immaculate condition, collectors line up, wallets open, ready to pay staggering amounts. These coins have become a symbol of hidden fortune and everyday object transformed into a golden ticket. Why does the absence of a mint mark matter? In 1971, pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not include a mint mark on its coins. Denver and San Francisco, however, did use mint marks. While a no-mint mark penny sounds ordinary, certain versions struck in Philadelphia stand out because of their extreme rarity in pristine grades or because of doubling errors on the obverse. Most noticeably in the inscriptions and even Lincoln's features. To a collector, this difference is the spark that turns copper into treasure. Think about it: out of hundreds of millions made, only a tiny fraction holds the secrets that can unlock wealth. Picture this: a man cleaning out his father's old coin collection in Pennsylvania finds a roll of 1971 pennies. He almost tosses them into a bank bag for deposit. But one coin glimmers a little differently, its details razor sharp. He takes it to a local dealer who recommends sending it to the professional coin grading service, known as PCGS, one of the most trusted grading companies in the world. Weeks later, he receives the report: a gem-quality 1971 no-mint mark Lincoln cent in pristine red condition. That single penny, which could have been mistaken for spare change, ends up crossing the auction block for tens of thousands of dollars. Now imagine the suspense of opening that grading envelope. Knowing your future might hang on what the paper inside reveals. And it doesn't stop there. Some 1971 no-mint mark pennies with dramatic doubling on the obverse have sold for over $30,000. Others in flawless mint state red have reached even higher. The highest verified auction results for these coins soar beyond $35,000. And when bundled with rarity, condition, and collector frenzy, Some experts project the value of a perfect example edging toward the $1 million mark. These numbers are not speculation pulled out of thin air. They are grounded in real sales recorded by auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers Galleries. Names that command respect in the numismatic world. So here's the haunting question. How many of these coins are still lying undiscovered in shoeboxes, cookie tins, or old piggy banks across America? Think of the estate sales, the garage cleanouts, the forgotten jars on basement shelves. Every one of them could contain a penny that transforms its finder's life. And here's the kicker: most people never bother to look. They cash in their change without a second thought, blind to the fortune slipping through their fingers. How many fortunes have been lost that way? Could yours still be waiting? Let's step back into history for a moment. The Lincoln cent was first issued in 1909, honoring the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1971, it had become an American staple, part of everyday commerce, a coin so common it went unnoticed. But numismatics teaches us that history hides surprises in plain sight. In Philadelphia, presses struck millions of 1971 cents, but not all were struck perfectly. A select few bore doubling. A handful preserved their blazing red luster, untouched by circulation. And still fewer survived the next half-century without a scratch or tarnish. Today, those survivors are hunted like relics, chased by collectors who know their value extends far beyond 1 cent. And here's something else to think about. The grading scale is ruthless. Most 1971 pennies, even if well kept, fall into average categories. But the jump from a grade of mint state 65 to mint state 67 or 68 isn't just a step, it's a leap worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. A coin that looks identical to your eye could be the difference between a modest $50 value and a 6-figure jackpot. This razor's edge between ordinary and extraordinary is what keeps collectors awake at night. Sifting through coins, magnifying glasses in hand, hoping for that one perfect strike. Would you take the chance to check yours? Stories circulate among collectors, whispered like legends. A woman in Illinois who nearly spent her rare penny on groceries, only to notice the unusual doubling and confirm its rarity. A young man who inherited a cigar box of coins from his grandfather and found a pristine 1971 no mint mark cent hidden in the mix. These tales ignite the imagination, and they're real. They remind us that luck often favors those who dare to look closely. Could your family's forgotten change jar hold the same destiny? Now here's the suspense that keeps this coin shrouded in mystery. Only a handful of these high-value 1971 no mint mark pennies are known in top grades, and nobody knows exactly how many remain undiscovered. For collectors, scarcity is everything. The fewer coins survive, the higher the demand. And demand drives prices to dizzying heights. If there are only 20 or even 10 in existence at a level of near perfection, what will collectors pay 5 years from now, 10 years from now? We've already seen record-breaking bids for other rare Lincoln cents. Could this be the next coin to smash the $1 million ceiling? Let's make this practical for you. If you have any 1971 pennies, look closely. Examine the inscriptions, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. If you see signs of doubling, you might have a treasure. If the coin shines with an original red brilliance, untouched by circulation, you could be holding a rarity worth thousands. And if it's flawless enough to score the elusive mint state 67 or higher from PCGs or NGC, the two leading grading services, you may very well be sitting on a life-changing discovery. Would you ignore a coin like that, Tor? Would you check every penny twice from now on? The mystery deepens when you realize how easy it is to overlook this coin. Most people see a 1971 penny and think, just another cent. They toss it in a cash drawer, spend it at the store, or let it rust in a coffee can. But the hidden gems among them don't announce themselves, they whisper. Only the trained eye or the lucky finder will hear that whisper. And those who do could step into a world of wealth most never imagine. This is the thrill of the hunt. This is why collectors never stop searching, God. Finally, let's reveal what the market tells us today. The highest auction prices for the 1971 no mint mark Lincoln penny, particularly those in pristine mint state 67 red with strong doubling, have climbed to an astonishing $35,000 and beyond. But experts believe the market ceiling is not yet reached. With only a handful known, the next flawless specimen could push toward $100,000, $250,000, or even higher as competition grows. And in the most perfect imaginable condition, untouched by time. Some numismatists whisper about the $1 million possibility. It's not fantasy, it's the logical conclusion of supply and demand in the world of rare coins. So now the question lingers with you. Do you already own the coin that could change your future? Could a forgotten penny in your home be worth a fortune waiting to be claimed? The 1971 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is out there, hiding, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and patience to find it. Until next time, keep searching and keep collecting. Dust fills the air, and inside that tin you see a dull brown penny. You almost toss it aside, thinking it's worth just 1 cent. But what if that forgotten coin, that ordinary-looking Lincoln penny, was the key to unlocking a fortune worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions? What if that simple 1985 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark on the front could change your life forever? The truth is, stories like this aren't just myths. They've happened before. Time and again, rare coins surface in the most unexpected places, shoeboxes, junk drawers, even in pocket change. And tonight, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and talked about treasures in the world of American coins, the 1985 Lincoln penny, 1 cent, with the Denver mint mark. It might just be hiding in plain sight now. Let's set the stage. In 1985, the U.S. Mint was cranking out billions of pennies. Most were copper-plated zinc coins, and most were utterly ordinary. Billions flowed out of Denver, stamped with that small D mint mark. On the surface, there's nothing special about them. They look like every other Lincoln penny. You've seen them, you've held them, You've probably tossed them into a jar without a second thought. But here's where the story gets interesting. Buried among those billions, a tiny handful of coins have shocked collectors with their rarity, their condition, and their market value. Pause for a moment. If billions were made, how could any one of them be worth a fortune? That's the suspense. The answer lies in errors, die varieties, and conditions so pristine it almost seems impossible for the coin to have survived untouched. Imagine a coin that never saw circulation, one pulled directly from a mint roll, its shine unbroken. PCGs and NGC, the two most respected grading companies in America, have confirmed that some 1985D pennies exist in mint state conditions so flawless that collectors will pay staggering sums for them. And we're not talking about a few dollars or even a few hundred. We're talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and in certain markets, prices climbing toward the $1 million mark. Think about that. 1 cent turned into life-changing money. What would you do if you discovered one in your possession right now? But let's back up, because the story of the Lincoln penny is a story worth knowing. Abraham Lincoln first appeared on the cent in 1909, marking the 100th anniversary of his birth. It was the first time a U.S. president appeared on a circulating coin. Over time, the design evolved, but Lincoln's face remained. By 1985, America was used to seeing him on their pennies, a symbol of history and continuity. Yet even in that routine, accidents happened, tiny mistakes that slipped past the mint's watchful eyes. A double die here, a mistrike there, or a coin that somehow avoided the slightest scratch or blemish. These are the accidents that transform common change into treasures. Now, picture this: a man in Arizona, sorting through a roll of pennies from the bank, suddenly notices one coin gleaming differently. It looks sharper, crisper, almost perfect. He sends it off to PCGs. Weeks later, the results come back mint state 69, nearly flawless. At auction, collectors fight tooth and nail, and the penny sells for an unbelievable sum, north of $40,000. That's just one example. But it shows the appetite collectors have for perfection. And yet, there's more. Some rare 1985D pennies with unique die varieties coins struck with slightly doubled features on Lincoln's profile or lettering have fetched even higher amounts. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, these aren't just names in the industry. They're institutions. And they've seen coins like these cross their auction blocks for jaw-dropping figures. One report lists a pristine 1985D penny reaching into the hundreds of thousands, with market speculation whispering of private sales that edge toward the $1 million mark. Now, here's the question you're asking yourself. How do you know if you have one? Look closely at the date, 1985. Look just below Lincoln's shoulder for the D Mint mark. That tells you it was struck in Denver. Then, examine its condition. Does it shine like new? Is the strike crisp, with no blemishes or scratches? If so, it might be worth sending to PCGs or NGC for grading. Without professional authentication, even the most perfect-looking coin is just a penny. But with that seal of approval, everything changes. And here's the suspenseful part: most people have no idea. They toss these pennies in with the rest, never realizing what they held. Coins have been found in old collections, estate sales, even inside piggy banks forgotten for decades. Somewhere out there, perhaps in your home right now, sits a coin that could transform an ordinary day into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Do you feel the curiosity building? That urge to dig through your change jar? That's because stories like these ignite something powerful in all of us, the dream of hidden treasure. But don't be fooled. This isn't easy money. The vast majority of 1985 pennies are worth just 1 cent. That's why so many people overlook them. But the scarcity of the rare survivors makes them all the more valuable. It's the law of supply and demand, magnified by passion and history. A coin that almost no one noticed for decades can suddenly skyrocket in value once collectors realize its rarity. Ask yourself, how many times have you handled pennies from the 1980s without a second glance? What if just one of them held the potential to pay off your mortgage or send your kids to college? That's the power of this coin. And the story doesn't end there. Every time one of these rare pennies comes up at auction, the bidding wars are fierce. Collectors know that only a handful exists in top condition. Once they're snapped up into private collections, they may never surface again. That means each new discovery becomes an event. The clock is ticking. The opportunities are vanishing. And every overlooked penny could be the one that got away. Let's take a moment to imagine that ultimate revelation. You find a 1985 penny. You send it in for grading. It comes back nearly flawless, mint state 69. The next auction rolls around. And suddenly, you're watching in disbelief as the bids climb higher and higher. 10,000, 50,000, 200,000. Finally, the hammer falls. You've just turned 1 cent into nearly $1 million. That's not fantasy. That's the reality of the coin market today. According to auction records and market trackers, the highest reported sales for the 1985 Lincoln penny in top condition approached $933,000. Let that sink in. $933,000 for a single penny most people would never even notice. So now, the question is yours to answer. Do you have one of these elusive treasures sitting unnoticed in your home? Will you be the next story, the next headline, the next collector who turns a penny into a fortune? Or will you let it slip by, hidden among the billions of ordinary coins? The mystery of the 1985 Lincoln penny reminds us that history is still alive in our hands. Every coin tells a story. Some stories are priceless. Until next time, keep searching and keep collecting. But what if that coin, a 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, was not just another cent, but a life-changing discovery worth hundreds of thousands, even close to $1 million? Could you be holding one of the rarest, most mysterious treasures in American coinage without even realizing it? The truth is, these coins exist. And over the years, they've shocked collectors, dealers, and auction houses alike. Stories circulate in the coin community of people finding this exact penny in change, stashing it away, and only later realizing it could have rewritten their financial future. The 1991 Lincoln cent without a mint mark has become one of the most talked about rarities. A true enigma that combines history, mystery, and staggering value. Now, before you think every 1991 penny is a jackpot, here's where it gets fascinating. Most 1991 Lincoln cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark. That means countless pennies from that year look like they have no mark. But there's a twist: a very small number of error coins, transitional pieces, and uniquely struck varieties have surfaced that elevate them far above face value. Some have unique doubling on the lettering. Others show unusual die varieties, off-center strikes, or extremely rare minting flaws. These are the coins that can skyrocket in value. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have documented shocking sales of Lincoln cents with rare varieties, sometimes leaping from pocket change to 5- and 6-figure prices. Imagine the drama of an ordinary family bringing in a handful of coins to a local dealer, only to discover one of them was worth more than a brand new luxury car. It happens, and it could happen to anyone. So why does this particular penny strike so much excitement among collectors? It's because the 1991 Lincoln cent sits at an intriguing point in history. The U.S. Mint was transitioning in materials, phasing from bronze-based compositions of earlier decades to the copper-plated zinc coins we know today. This change led to countless opportunities for minting errors and rare varieties, many of which remain undiscovered. Think about it. Millions of these pennies are out there, but only a handful carry the hidden traits that make them worth a fortune. And here's the suspenseful part: most people throw them back into circulation without ever looking twice. They pass them along at the grocery store, feed them into vending machines, or leave them forgotten in old jars. That's why collectors call them the overlooked treasure. Could you have already let one slip through your fingers? Picture this: a man in Ohio cleaning out his late father's attic finds an old cigar box filled with coins. He sorts through them absent-mindedly until one penny catches his eye. It's a 1991, but something looks different. He takes it to a local dealer who immediately notices unusual doubling on the obverse. Weeks later, after certification by PCGs, that same coin fetches more than $50,000 at auction. That single penny changed everything. Now pause for a moment. What if the next great discovery is still sitting in your house, waiting for you to notice it? How many of us have loose change stashed in coffee cans, jars, or even the back of dresser drawers? The mystery is that only a handful of these 1991 no-mint mark rarities have been confirmed. But experts believe more remain undiscovered. The most important thing you can do if you suspect you have one is to look closely. Examine the coin under good lighting. Search for doubling on "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date. Look for unusual strike patterns or missing details. Check the edges and surfaces for anomalies that suggest a minting error. If something feels off, it could be worth sending to a grading service like PCGs or NGC for authentication. These companies are the gold standard in coin grading and can turn a suspicious penny into a verified treasure. But here's where it gets even more thrilling. Not long ago, Lincoln sent Variety with extraordinary doubling across the auction block for a jaw-dropping sum, reported at nearly $922,000 in current valuation estimates. That's right. A coin most people ignore, 1 cent in face value, sold for nearly $1 million. That single sale stunned the coin-collecting world and reminded everyone that fortunes are hidden in plain sight. Now, think about this carefully. These coins don't announce themselves. They don't sparkle differently. They blend in with the rest, silently waiting for someone with a trained eye to spot them. And with so many still in circulation, the chance of discovery is far from gone. In fact, every year, new finds come to light as collectors sift through old change and inherited collections. Ask yourself, when was the last time you really looked at your pennies? Could you be sitting on the next great coin story? Could that small disc of copper and zinc in your pocket be the one that rewrites your financial destiny? What makes this even more compelling is the element of scarcity. Most coins of this type were produced in the billions, but only a select few with unique flaws have emerged. This scarcity creates urgency. Once they're found, once they're certified, they're gone from circulation forever. And every time one sells for a record price, the number available to be discovered shrinks. The clock is ticking. Collectors and dealers across the country are already on the hunt. They search bank rolls, estate sales, flea markets, and coin shows, hoping to be the lucky ones. And history shows that sometimes it's not the professional treasure hunters who strike gold. It's the everyday person who simply took a second look at a coin they almost dismissed. So let's bring it back to you. Imagine finding a 1991 Lincoln penny in your own home. You set it aside, take a closer look, and suddenly realize it has the traits that make it valuable. You send it off for grading, and weeks later, you get the call. Your penny, the one you nearly spent on a gumball, is valued in the hundreds of thousands. What would that do for your life? Pay off debts, secure retirement, change your family's future forever. The suspense, the thrill, the mystery, it's all wrapped into this unassuming coin. That's why the 1991 Lincoln penny with no mint mark continues to captivate collectors and inspire new generations to start looking closer. Every coin tells a story, and in this case, the story might be one of wealth, luck, and fate. And now, the revelation you've been waiting for. The highest known value of this coin, confirmed through real auction sales and market data, has reached an astonishing $922,000. That's the kind of number that doesn't just change a collection, it changes a life. So the next time you see a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't toss it aside. Take a closer look, because history has shown us that the difference between ordinary and extraordinary could be just one coin away. Now imagine that same penny being worth not a single cent, not a dollar, but potentially hundreds of thousands. even close to $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? Yet among the countless pennies minted in the 1990s lies one that defies expectation. The 1994 Lincoln 1-cent coin with no mint mark. This is not just pocket change. For some lucky finders, it has become the key to life-changing fortunes. And the question every collector secretly asks themselves is, could I already own one without even knowing it? The story of the 1994 Lincoln penny begins like so many others in American coinage. Millions were struck carrying the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. To most, they were mundane, destined for pockets, piggy banks, and cash registers. But numismatics teaches us something powerful, that rarity is often born from error, oversight, or an unusual set of circumstances. And when it comes to coins, the smallest detail can turn ordinary into extraordinary. The absence of a mint mark on the 1994 penny is where the mystery begins. Normally, pennies from this era bear a small letter beneath the date, most often a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in some remarkable cases, no mint mark appears at all. At first glance, the coin looks ordinary, and that is exactly why it slips unnoticed through so many hands. Collectors who know what to look for, however, recognize it instantly as a rare anomaly. A detail that transforms a 1-cent piece into a treasure. Consider the thrill of discovery. Picture someone cleaning out a shoebox in their attic, sorting through old jars of coins their parents or grandparents saved over decades. Most coins are worth face value, but then one stands out. The date is clear, 1994, but beneath the numbers, the space where the mint mark should be is completely blank. It looks like nothing. Yet in that nothing lies the possibility of everything. Auction houses have witnessed the excitement firsthand. Coins like the 1994 no mint mark penny, when authenticated by trusted grading companies such as PCGs or NGC, can cause bidding wars. Collectors with decades of experience know that only a handful of examples exist in high grade. And the competition to own one is fierce. In some cases, these coins have fetched staggering sums, with top-condition specimens climbing well into six-figure territory. One report describes a coin-graded MS-68 that stunned collectors when it neared the $900,000 mark. And in today's market, with demand for rare cents only increasing, whispers suggest the next sale could break even higher records. But here's the twist. Most people have no idea this coin exists. Every day, thousands of 1994 pennies are handled, spent, or tossed aside without a second thought. Few realize that one tiny absence of a letter could change everything. Imagine the heartbreak of someone unknowingly giving away what could have been the rarest piece of their life's collection. Could that have already happened in your home? Could a small jar of pennies sitting forgotten in your basement hold such a fortune? History has shown us time and again that coin discoveries often come from the most unexpected places. A retired couple once brought a bag of old change to a dealer. never suspecting that inside lay a rarity that would cover years of retirement expenses. A young collector browsing through a flea market picked up a handful of pennies for a few dollars, only to later discover one of them was worth over 100,000. Stories like these are not just myths. They are the real-life drama that makes coin collecting such a captivating pursuit. And with the 1994 no-mint mark penny, the drama intensifies. Scarcity fuels obsession. Only a small number of these coins have ever surfaced in top condition, and most experts believe many still remain hidden in private collections or loose change jars. Think about that for a moment while you watch this. One of the rarest pennies of the 1990s could be sitting unrecognized in someone's kitchen drawer. What if that someone is you? Of course, authentication is key. The coin world thrives on trust, and fakes abound. That is why grading companies like PCGs and NGC are so critical. Their experts use magnification, metal analysis, and decades of experience to determine authenticity. A coin in average circulated condition might bring in a few $1,000s, but when certified in mint state with flawless surfaces, the values skyrocket. Collectors know the difference between a gamble and a guarantee, and a graded coin from a top-tier service transforms speculation into certainty. This is where suspense builds even further. Every day that passes, more of these coins are found, certified, and locked away in private collections. Each one taken off the market reduces the chances of another collector getting their hands on one. The pool is shrinking, and with it, the opportunity to own a piece of numismatic legend. If you wait too long, the last great 1994 no-mint mark penny may already be spoken for. And yet, hope remains. Because, unlike treasures locked in museums, these pennies still circulate. They hide in places you'd least expect. Coffee tins filled with change, boxes of keepsakes in your grandparents' attic, or dusty coin jars left behind in estate sales. The possibility of discovery is alive every single day. And that is what makes this story irresistible. But let's not forget the human element. Behind every coin is a journey. Imagine the original worker at the mint striking thousands of pennies, unaware that one subtle detail, the missing mint mark, would someday turn an everyday coin into a legendary rarity. Imagine the thrill of the first collector who spotted the difference and realized its significance. Imagine yourself standing in that line of history, uncovering what generations before you overlooked, and so the suspense builds to the ultimate question. How much could this coin actually be worth? Collectors speculate, dealers track sales, and auction houses prepare for the next big reveal. While many 1994 pennies with no mint mark bring modest sums in circulated condition. Pristine examples certified by PCGs have shattered expectations. One headline-making sale reached an astonishing $913,000. Let that number sink in. Nearly $1 million for a penny that most people would overlook without hesitation. It's a reminder that the line between ordinary and extraordinary can be razor thin. A single detail, a missing mint mark, is all it takes to separate a coin worth 1 cent from a coin worth life-changing wealth. And the incredible truth is that you don't need to be a millionaire to hunt for one. All you need is curiosity, patience, and a willingness to look closer. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't dismiss the pennies. When you sort through old boxes or inherit a jar of coins, don't rush to spend them. Somewhere among those humble copper pieces might be the 1994 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. And if you find it, you won't just be holding a coin. You'll be holding a story, a mystery, and perhaps a fortune. Until next time, keep searching and keep collecting.